Hi everyone, I am going to make for you a pork stir fry, and I have a couple of tricks to make it the best pork stir fry ever. I want to make sure that this is extremely tender, and I have a few tricks to do that. So with this piece of pork, I'm actually going to be working with 2 pounds of pork today, so I'm going to double the recipe. The grain is going this way. So one of the tricks to have the best, most tender piece of pork for the stir fry is to cut it thinly and to cut it across the grain. If you cut it across the grain, you shorten the fibers, therefore making it more tender. And you want to cut them as thinly as possible. Kind of make it want to look like this, very thin. And what I love about this recipe is one of my favorite memories about this recipe, actually. I was on the phone with my mother, and she was taking a chicken out of the fridge, and I called her to see how she was doing. And she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm making a pork stir fry." She's like, "Forget the chicken," and she came over. I made her the pork stir fry. She loves this. It's like the most tender pork you'll ever have in your life. So here we go. We cut across the grain. So now we're done with that, and I'm going to show you the rest of the tips and tricks. Oh, by the way, another tip to keep your cutting board. This particular cutting board I use for meat only. I don't use my wooden cutting board. I got this from Pampered Chef. I'm pretty obsessed with them. But what I like to do so that it won't go around, I like to put a wet paper towel underneath it. So that's just another little trick. So I'm going to wash my hands. I'm using a new piece of equipment today. I'm very proud of myself. It basically holds the phone in place, and then you can see the ingredients that I am, hopefully you can see this well, that I am putting in here, and then you can make it for yourself. Now, here is the trick that I'm going to show you of how to make the best pork stir fry. So this is 2 pounds of pork. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm sorry, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. What that's going to do is, now this is just the marinade right now. What that's going to do is it's going to thicken the sauce when we get together and we put the stir fry together. Now, the next ingredient is quite unexpected. It's baking soda. Now, you will not taste this. This is a half a teaspoon of baking soda. We're actually going to do a teaspoon. We did 2 teaspoons. You do half the amount of the cornstarch that you do the baking soda. So we're just going to do a teaspoon of baking soda. If you were to do a half a pound of pork, a pound of pork, I'm on a roll today. If you were to do a pound of pork, now this is 2 pounds, you would do a half a teaspoon of baking soda. So what the baking soda is going to do is it is going to make the surface of the pork more alkaline. You can even see it happening already. And what that does is it shortens the fibers even more and makes it more tender. So we're going to we got those 2 ingredients in. Now we're going to add a little bit of ginger. I'll grate fresh ginger, but as you know, we're all in quarantine right now. So the fresh ginger wasn't in the store this week. And I'm going to put in some soy sauce. Here we go. I would say about a tablespoon of soy sauce. You can put more in. And look at this. It's sizzling. It's sizzling with the, I put a little more than a tablespoon in there. It's sizzling with the baking soda. That's what you want, though. That's a good thing. We're going to put a little bit of white pepper just for some spice. I love white pepper. It's got such an elegance about it. And a lot of people use it so that they don't see the little bits and pieces in there, but I actually like it. And I'm going to put in a little bit of oyster sauce. I'm going to take about 2 teaspoons of oyster sauce. Go. Perfect. Now, washed my hands, everything's clean. I am going to use the best tools of my disposal, and I'm going to get the baking soda, the cornstarch, and the soy sauce and everything we did. I'm going to get this on every single solitary part of this pork, just to make sure that it touches everything. One of the other things I did with the pork was I trimmed it. Sometimes with pork you'll see like a silvery skin on it. Just take that off with your knife, and that will make it even more tender. So when you look at these little tips and tricks of cutting it thinly and then adding the baking soda along with the cornstarch, you are going to have a consistency that you've never had before. And you don't taste the baking soda at all. It's such a small amount because this is 2 pounds of pork. So there you go. So I am going to wash my hands. Now, since this is a pretty salty marinade, I'm only going to marinate this for 10 minutes. And in a little bit, I am going to show you the stir fry itself, which does not take very long. So I'm going to show you that in a little bit. I'm going to let this marinate first though. Thank you for watching. I will be right back.